I know Yoshi called it a small patch. Yeah, a small patch. It's false advertising. This was not a small balance update. This patch is massive. Small balance update, Mike. Got a lot to cover, so let's just get right the hell into it. So they reworked how bounty mechanics work with the troopers entirely. So now the first half of the souls, they still fly out as a deniable orb. Cool. We needed to keep that for sure. The other half, instead of being instantly given to nearby players, it falls to the ground and you actually have to go collect it. I mean, it's got an 18-meter capture radius, so not too big a deal. It's not like you have to like step on it to pick up the souls, but only one player needs to claim it, and the share rules remain the same as before. They last for 18 seconds on the ground, and afterwards they just disappear. I like that, and at the same time I don't. Personally, I think if you leave them on the ground for 18 seconds, they should be fair game to the enemy team. That's just me. Enemy orbs are visible as faint colorless soul orbs for your team. They can't be claimed. Yeah, once again, I think that after a certain amount of time, the enemy team should be able to claim them. I don't know, maybe maybe I'm just a sociopath. I don't know. Amount of souls in the flying orb can be secured or denied. Reduced from 50% to 40%. Very small tweaks to secure, deny, lag calculation to improve it. I did notice this over the weekend while I've been playing. It's significantly easier for you to collect souls. Increased trooper range to be considered in range for souls to drop from 35 to 45 meters. Good God. So you don't have to be as close to get the shared souls. Medic troopers no longer have a passive healing pulse ability because now they drop a medic pack when you kill them. Has the same pickup range and duration mechanic as the soul orbs on the ground and heals everybody in a 30-meter radius for 10% of their missing HPs, as well as 75 plus 2 per minute game time. After a minute, 77 and 79 and so on and so forth. Starting souls count increased from 400 to 600. You get your first item basically guaranteed on first wave if you're buying an 800 soul item. If you're like me and you play Page and you like to rush Guardian Ward, you're going to have to wait a couple more waves. Not a big deal. Trooper bounty values increased by 10%. Trooper bounty split ratios updated from 1.65, 0.28, 0.15, 0.12, 0.08. Good grief, numbers. 1, 0.54, 0.36, 0.25, 0.2, 0.16. It's slightly less efficient now for 2 players to share souls in lane, but your team is going to get more souls overall if you have 3 people in the lane, but, you know, at the cost of everybody individually having less souls. So double-edged sword there. Rework position of your player camera and various details that affect visibility around your hero. I didn't notice too much of a difference, to be honest. Neutral camps, they made some changes to the jungle camps. Bounty increased by 10%, HP increased by 15%, so they're going to be a little bit harder to take down, but you get more souls out of them. Smalls neutral damage increased by 15%, so you're going to take a little damage while taking the smaller camps. Small neutral camps respawn time decreased from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. Medium neutral spirit resist from 30% to 40%. Damage increased by 25% from medium neutral camps. Hard neutral camp spirit resist increased from 35 to 50%. Jesus Christ. Hard neutral camps damage increased by 30%. Good fucking God. Normally, you're not looking to take the hard neutral camps unless you have Cultist Sacrifice until later in the game anyway, so that I haven't noticed much of a difference, if I'm being honest. Center Sacrifice return damage increased from 60 to 80. Minimum unsecured gold to drop increase from 100 to 150, so you're not going to get a bag off of somebody for just 102 unsecured souls. Sprint out of combat regen timer against neutrals increased from 0.5 seconds to 2.5. Yeah, it takes longer to start sprinting or regenerating. That's AIDS. That's... Okay. Reduced all AP damage upgrades by 10%. What the? Face gun damage and gun damage growth increased by 10%, excluding Page. Go f yourselves. That's bullshit, but understandable. Bullshit, but understandable. Headshot multiplier reduced from 1.8 to 1.65. Weapon investment bonuses now grant an additional 20% weapon damage at 4,800 souls spent. Vitality investment bonuses now grant additional 12% bonus health at 4,800 4,800 souls. Spirit investment bonus now grants additional 20 spirit power at 4,800 souls spent. Added a UI highlight to 4,800 reward row of the investment bonuses, so now it's more obvious when you tab and you see what your bonuses are. Initial wall jump now costs 0.25 stamina. What? Stamina regen reduced by 5%, 5 seconds to 5.25. Okay, just grab extra stamina. After 35 minutes, all troopers gain plus 50% HP. I mean, with the gun buffs, that makes sense. Guardians HP increased from 3,500 to 4,250. That needed to happen. Guardians were going down way too quickly. Walker HP increased by 40%. Walker on side lanes now have same HP as mid lane rather than 37% less. Good change. Walker engagement ranges reduced. Ranges for attacks, being attacked, stomps, etc. So now you got to get closer to the Walker to actually do damage to it. I like it. Fireball radius increased from 5 meters to 6. Fireball debuff now lingers for 4 seconds. Okay. So like Infernus burn. Okay. Walker area and mid lane adjusted. Yeah, I've noticed that. They moved it a little further back. Get closer to the Walker on top of having to push a little further up in the mid lane. Bullet damage is no longer reduced by 35% of a hero's base bullet damage against tier 1s. Guardians now start with 75% damage resist that decays to 50% over the first 10 minutes of a match. Walkers now start with 75% damage resist that decays to 50% over the first 20 minutes. And note the Walker resistance change used to be in the client a couple months ago, but it got bugged. Base slot count increased from 8 to 9, and flex slot count reduced from 4 to 3. 1 is given for each Walker killed. Previously, 4 were given for 1 for 3 Guardians, 1 for a Walker, 1 for all 3 Walkers, and then a set of base Guardians. So now everybody's starting with 9 free slots and only has to unlock 3 flex. Oh God, they changed the rejuve. Rejuve buff no longer grants 10% max HP, 15% fire rate, and 15% spirit damage amp. Increased health from 13,000 to 14,000. Health growth per minute increased from 200 to 230, so you're going to have to work a little harder to take down mid-boss. Team that kills mid-boss gets 2 permanent buffs for each player. Dropping and throwing the urn now causes parry to go on cooldown. I like that change, actually, because now you can't wait for somebody to heavy melee you and then just drop urn and parry. I like that change. I like that change a lot. Soul Urn no longer grants plus 1 AP to the person dropping it off. Soul Urn now provides 4 permanent buffs to the person dropping it off. Added 2 levels at 47k and 49k to let you get all ability upgrades. Jump pad stun window increased from 0.6 to 0.9 seconds. When meleeing an enemy that is mantling, mantle slow is applied. Mantle sliding right afterwards is no longer allowed. You know how long it took some of us to figure that shit out, and you go and take it away from us? Subsequent crowd control reduction increased from 7% over 21% to 8% over 24%. Okay, so it's a little more difficult to stun lock somebody, but I don't foresee this making that much of a difference. Survival buff HP regen changed from 0.5 to 1.5% max HP to 4 to 40 fixed regen. Okay, so it went from percentage of max HP to a flat amount. Gun buff ammo increased from 20 to 60% to 35 to 70%. Jesus, they're really pushing for a gun meta. Gun buff now reloads your ammo on pickup. Did it not do that before? I don't know. I have a tendency to reload before I do anything, so maybe I just never noticed it. Casting buff spirit power increased from 15 to 40 to 15 to 65. Casting buff cooldown reduction rescaled from 12 to 25% to 12 to 20%. Movement buff stamina from 1 to 4 to 2 to 4. Okay, so you get 2 stamina points off movement buff early now. I like it. Fix a couple bugs on the troopers. Anti-stuck behavior to fix in places where you can move a trooper and get them stuck. Fixed a bug where troopers could clip into the world while running upstairs and over obstacles. All right, we got some item changes. Cooldown reduction changes. Enchanter's Emblem cooldown reduced from 7% to 5%. Compressed cooldown reduction reduced from 22% to 18%. That needed to happen. Superior cooldown reduction reduced from 25% to 20%. Transcendent reduced from 30 to 25. On one hand, it's a good change, but on the other hand, just about every hero I play runs this. So I feel attacked here. Spellslinger cooldown reduction reduced from 12 to 6. Good God, cut it in half. Spiritual Overflow cooldown reduction reduced from 20 to 12. Echo Shard no longer grants 5% cooldown reduction. Thank you. And go fuck yourself. Every Bebop player who runs this. Scourge cooldown reduction reduced from 6% to 4%. Golden Statue cooldown reduction reduced from 0.75, 1.0, 1.5 to 0.5, 0.75, 1%. Headshot booster cooldown increased from 8 to 9. Okay. I guess they were tired of me being Haze. High velocity rounds, bullet velocity increased from 45 to 50%. Effects upgrades. Okay, I like that. I like that. Granted, I'm not a fan of people who build gun page. Split shot cooldown increased from 14 to 32. Yeah, I definitely felt that. It needed to happen. I get it, but go fuck yourselves. Mystic shot proc damage reduced from 45 to 40. Mystic shot spirit power scaling increased from 0.75 to 0.8. Opening round spirit power increased from 7 to 8. Blood tribute debuff resistance reduced from 50% to 40%. Cult of Sacrifice now provides weapon damage instead of fire rate. I really think that's more geared towards heroes like Wraith, Ivy, maybe Billy, if people are still building Gun Billy. I haven't seen one of those in a while. I'm surprised I didn't see a lot of them this weekend. Definitely Gun McGinnis. Toxic Bullet's duration increased from 3 seconds to 4 seconds because Infernus needed an indirect buff. Fuck off. Express shot weapon damage now scales with boons. What? Express shot weapon damage reduced from 185 to 170. Secondary fire weapon damage now scales with boons. Secondary fire weapon damage reduced from 75 to 45%. Ammo consumed increased from 30% to 40%. Weighted shots weapon damage increased from 30 to 35. This kind of explains why Abrams has been hitting so hard lately. Warpstone bullet resist reduced from 35 to 30%. And they're not even trying to hide it. They are absolutely pushing for a gun meta. I'm very much looking forward to see how the teams on Deadlocked Night Shift adjust to this. That's going to be interesting. Escalating resilience, bonus health reduced from 125 to 100. Tesla bullets, shock damage reduced from 40 to 33. Shock damage, spirit power growth increased from 0.14 to 0.19. They reduced the flat damage, but increase the scaling. I think that's a net buff. I really think we're going to see a lot more Wraith. I foresee Ivy being bumped up to a first round pick ban. I wonder if we're going to see any McGinnis this week. Capacitor shock damage reduced from 50 to 43. Scaling increased to the same as Tesla bullets. No longer dispels buffs. Moved to curse. Okay, that needed to happen. That needed to happen. Capacitor was absolutely busted. Cooldown reduced from 60 to 50%. Slow duration reduced from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. Slow debuff now prevents stamina usage and silences movement abilities. What? That's insane. Even though it no longer dispels the buffs, you can't use movement abilities or stamina anymore. Shadow Weave, reveal distance reduced from 20 meters to 18. Full invisibility distance reduced from 50 meters to 30 meters. Lucky shot damage reduced from 125% to 110. I mean, with the gun buffs, they had to balance out some of the items. Let's be real here. Glass cannon max health reduced from 10% to 13%. They're actually making you a glass cannon if you build this. Crippling headshot healing reduction increased from 30% to 35. Spiritual overflow fire rate increased from 30% to 35. Spellslinger fire rate per stack increased from 10% to 12%. All right. And then silencer spirit resist increased from 14 to 15%. Reactive barrier. Cooldown increased from 26 to 40 seconds. Duration reduced from 12 to 10 seconds. This was the most commonly built item on Night Shift for a while, if I'm not mistaken. This needed nerfs. Spirit shielding cooldown increased from 35 to 45 seconds. Damage threshold increased from 175 to 225. And duration reduced from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. All right, this one needed nerfs too. Weapon shielding cooldown increased from 35 to 45 seconds, and duration reduced from 8 to 7 seconds. Okay, same with spirit shielding. you know, adjust one, you got to adjust the other, I guess. Majestic Leap, cooldown increase from 32 to 34 seconds. Cheat Death removes all non-stun debuffs on proc. Oh. Okay. I very rarely see anybody build this item, if I'm being honest. Inhibitor healing reduction increased from 35 to 40%. And Spellbreaker cooldown reduced from 10 seconds to 9 seconds. Bullet resist shredder. Bullet resist reduction reduced from 13 to 12%. They are absolutely pushing for a gun meta. This is ridiculous. Although I think gun meta is going to be a lot more fun to watch. Mystic Vulnerability duration increased from 6 to 7 seconds. Spirit Sap cooldown reduced from 35 to 25 seconds. Matches Focus Lens because they changed Spirit Sap to build into Focus Lens instead of Silence Wave. So now you don't build Spirit Sap into Silence Wave. You have to build Silence Wave outright. Decay healing reduction increased from 40% to 45%. Ay. Why does Shiv need an indirect buff? Silence Wave no longer upgrades from Spirit Sap. Yeah, I just said that. No longer reduces spirit resistance or spirit power. So it's just a straight Silence Wave. Now deals 100 impact damage. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. Because half the reason that I was building Silence Wave to begin with was for the spirit resistance reduction. With the gun meta being a thing and me being a page main, was already gonna start building what's it called? God, disarming hex anyway, because I just think for a gun meta, disarming hex is gonna be a lot better. I think after this patch on page, yeah, I think disarming hex just became very close to core. I don't know, maybe that's just me. If you're playing page properly and not building gun page, yeah, I think we start building disarming hex instead of Silence Wave now. Focus Lens now builds from Spirit Sap, now reduces spirit resistance by 12% and reduces spirit power by 30 for 12 seconds. You know what? That makes sense. Because Infernus needed more indirect buffs. Fire rate reduced from plus 16 to plus 13. Curse now dispels buffs. Curse cooldown increased from 45 to 55 seconds. Good. Weapon damage reduced from 20% to 15%. Echo Shard now grants 5% ability range because it no longer has the 5% cooldown reduction. I like it a lot. Scourge max health damage per second increased from 3.25% to 3.5%. Yeah, go ahead. Buff Calico more. And cooldown reduced from 38 to 35 seconds. All right, hero changes. Abram's shoulder charge cooldown reduced from 37 seconds to 33 seconds. Shoulder charge tier 3 reduced from minus 22 seconds to minus 18 seconds. And seismic impact tier 3 duration increased from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So you get crowd control immunity 4 seconds instead of 3. I like it. As an Abrams enjoyer, I like it. Bebop health growth reduced from 54 to 46. Exploding uppercut cooldown increased from 19 to 22. Oh, is Bebop getting nerfed completely? Exploding uppercut spirit scaling increased from 0.49 to 0.6. I might have gotten ahead of myself. Bebop Sticky Bomb tier 3 changed from on attached negative 30% outgoing damage for 5 seconds. On cast plus what the hell? Multiple instances stack independently. Hyper Beam DPS reduced from 190 to 160. Hyper Beam tier 2 increased from 90 to 120. Billy Rising Ram tier 2 increased from 25% weapon damage to 35%. Tier 3 increased from 6% max HP as spirit damage to 6.5. Why did Billy need buffs? I don't think Billy needed a buff. Billy was already annoying. Calico clip size increased from 10 to 12. Reload time increased from 2.5 to 2.6. Gloom Bomb's cooldown increased from 12 to 14. Return to Shadows tier 3 damage amp reduced from 24% to 18%. And Return to Shadows duration increased from 5 to 6. I hope we don't see a rebirth of Gun Calico, because that was a nightmare. That was absolute horseshit. Gun Calico was busted. If y'all were playing during that fucking time frame, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Doorman base regen from 2 to 1. Bullet damage fall off and effectiveness now use the actual distance traveled rather than the distance between starting position and end position. This fixes shooting through portals, not using right distance for fall off. Bell explosion damage reduced from 60 to 55. Tier 2 explosion damage reduced from 50 to 45. Bell impact damage, spirit scaling increase. Okay, so they reduce the flat damage and increase the scaling on it. I like that. I actually like that. Because now it kind of forces you to build into the bell early in order to be more effective with it. Drifter, Ren cooldown reduced from 15 seconds to 13 seconds. Base regen increased from 2.5 to 3.5. Dynamo base regen increased from 2 to 2.5. Kinetic pulse range increased from 15 to 20 meters. And cooldown reduced from 26. Did Dynamo really need buffs? Let's be real. Did Dynamo really need buffs? Maybe he did. Maybe he did. All right, some holiday changes. Please be nerfs. Please be nerfs. Holiday base regen reduced from 2 to 1. Bullet growth reduced from 1.23 to 1.04. Base damage reduced from 22 to 18. Bounce pad damage reduced from 80 to 60. Fixed a bug where you can get extra speed and distance with dash jump bounce pad timing. I thought it was designed that way. I didn't know that was a bug. Interesting. Holiday nerfs make me a little bit happy. Holiday has been like in Furnace. Afterburn buildup is now 10% slower on body shots, and Napalm tier 3 amp reduced from 20% to 17%. Okay. So Infernus got a bunch of indirect nerfs or indirect buffs through a bunch of the item changes, but he himself got nerfed a bit. So now it's a little more important for you to hit your headshots on Infernus to build up that afterburn. Ivy, Kutsu bomb damage reduced from 50 to 40. Okay, I do play Ivy, so this is going to affect me as well. Spirit scaling increased from 0.56 to 0.65. Okay, so reduce the flat damage, increase the scaling. I like it. Stone form cooldown reduced from 42 to 37. Watcher's Covenant bullet lifesteal increased from 10% to 15%. That's kind of nuts. Airdrop damage penalty for ally you're carrying now reduced from 50% to 30%. Okay, so whoever you're carrying while flying around is going to take a little bit more damage. Airdrop cast range increased from 12 meters to 14 meters. Kelvin changes. I also play a little bit of Kelvin. I'm not that great with Kelvin, but I do play a little bit of Kelvin. Bullet velocity reduced from 254 to 160. Frost grenade base damage reduced from 74 to 60. Frozen shelter tier 2 changed from 45 second cooldown to plus 1 second duration. Christ. And frozen shelter duration, flat duration reduced from 5.5 to 5 seconds. I mean, maybe we see a reduction in Kelvin priority. I do still think Kelvin is going to be first pick. Maybe not first pick ban, but definitely still a first round pick. Lash, grapple cooldown reduced from 42 seconds to 35 seconds. Flog heal versus heroes increased from 50% to 60%. Flog damage increased from 60 to 65. Cooldown reduced from 26 to 24. Flog tier 2 increased from minus 14 seconds to minus 12 seconds. Death Slam cooldown reduced from 155 to 145. So net buffs for Lash. Lash is kind of a pain in the ass to deal with in lower tiers, for sure. I think we might see more Lash in the higher tiers. Lady Geist, Soul Exchange, tier 3 radius reduced from 15 meters, or increased from 15 meters to 25 meters. That's kind of insane. That's kind of insane. You can swap from much further away. But yeah, I have not seen a whole lot of Geist in my games this weekend. Mina, Sanguine Retreat, cooldown increased from 30 to 32 seconds. No longer resets air jump and dash limits. That's a big change. Love Bites, cooldown increased from 7 to 8 seconds. Love Bites, tier 3 from -1 stamina to -2. Definitely a net nerf. We'd love to see it. Mina's been terrorizing just about every tier of play, at least from what I've seen. McGinnis mini turrets health per boon increased from 10 to 13, and spectral wall speed increased by 10%. All right, so do y'all want more gun McGinnis or do you want turret McGinnis? Make up your fucking minds. The overall gun buffs definitely help McGinnis, but you're also buffing the turrets and the wall. Are we gonna see some hybrid McGinnis? I don't know. Mirage Fire Scarab's max health steal increased from 37 to 45. Traveler can now target friendly objectives. A Traveler cooldown reduced from 160 160 to 145, and Traveler Tier 1 now reduces cooldown by 25 seconds. We're probably going to see some Mirage. Definitely going to see a little more Mirage. If y'all ever played League of Legends, just picture Shen being able to TP to towers and a lot faster. Oh my god, they buffed the Scarabs. Mo and Krill health regen reduced from 3 to 1. Go fuck yourselves. Page, bullet damage growth reduced from 0.66 to 0.52. Thank you for taking away the gun page. Defend and fight barrier reduced from 200 to 150. Let's be real, that needed to happen. I am a Page main. This needed to fucking happen. Page is cracked. Defend and fight. Barrier duration reduced from 7 seconds to 5 seconds. Tier 1 changed to add 50 barrier and plus 16% fire rate. Now with 0.15 spirit power scaling. Tier 2 changed from 25% fire rate to 100 barrier. So now you get 250 barrier at tier 2. Plus you get spirit power scaling. Tier 2 also grants the 2-second duration. So the 2 seconds that they took away from the base barrier gets added on to tier 2. Net nerfs, yes, let's be real. Page needed it. Paradox. I was just talking about Paradox. Base regen reduced from 2 to 1. Bullet damage growth reduced from 0.27 to 0.22. Health reduced, base health reduced from 700 to 650. Health per boon reduced from 47 to 45. Pulse grenade damage reduced from 40 to 35. Pulse grenade spirit scaling increased from 0.43 to 0.55. So they took away the flat damage and increased the scaling on it. I like these changes. I like changes like this. Fixed a bug where you could air dash further than expected with kinetic carbine. I didn't even know that was a thing. I don't play Paradox. The playmakers, I don't usually play those unless it's Pocket, but I haven't been good with Pocket since the fucking shop rework. Speaking of Pocket, base regen reduced from 2 to 1. Okay, flying cloak damage reduced from 85 to 70. Flying cloak tier 2 increased from plus 75 to plus 85. Okay, so you lose 15 damage and then get 10 back. 7, lightning ball radius increased from 3.5 to 4.25. Crit reduction increased from 25% to 35%. Shiv, alt fire knockback reduced by 10%. They fucking reduced the knockback again. Alt fire ammo cost increased from 2 to 3. Killing blow rage damage bonus reduced from 17% to 15%. Tier 2 rage damage bonus reduced from 8% to 6%. Killing blow rage state now causes your alt fire knockback to push you a little further. Thanks for giving us a number. Fix some bugs with barriers and spirit damage scaling. Fix all other cases as well. I don't play a lot of Shiv. It's actually, if you see me playing Shiv, just assume I'm being stupid. I play a god-awful Shiv. Sinclair, health reduced from 700 to 650. Regen reduced from 3 to 2. Spectral Assistant, total swaps increased from 1 to 2. And audience participation cooldown reduced from 50 to 40%. That's a net buff. That is 100%. That is a net buff. I used to play a lot of Sinclair too. I don't know what happened. I don't know what it is. I'm not good with him anymore. It's weird. I guess it happens when you don't play a hero as much. Viscous splatter cooldown increased from 21 seconds to 30 seconds. Thank you. Splatter tier 1 changed from minus 6 second cooldown to plus 40 damage and plus 1 meter radius. Tier 2 changed from the damage and radius increase to the cooldown decrease. Splatter tier 3 now also increases spirit scaling by 0.4. The cube duration reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. Regen increased from 30 to 40. Okay. Good balance there. Cube tier 2 now also increases duration by 1 second. Viper, health per boon increased from 33 to 35. Viper needed that. Warden, bullet damage increased from 16.2 to 16.6. Bullet damage growth increased from 0.44 to 0.48. They are really pushing for Gun Warden to be a thing. Health regen reduced from 3 to 2. Alchemical Flash radius reduced from 6.5 to 5.5. Good. Tier 2 now also grants plus 1 meter. Wraith, card trick base damage increased from 55 to 60. Oh, okay. Project Mine cooldown reduced from 48 seconds to 42 seconds. Oh, wow. Yamato, base regen reduced from 2 to 1. Power Slash, low charge damage from 40% to 30%. Power slash medium charge damage from 60 to 50. Good grief. Crimson slash cooldown increase from 11.5 to 15 seconds. Shit. And then tier 3 increase from a minus 5.75 cooldown to 9 seconds. Yamato received some hits as well. So that covers everything on the main part of this update. And there's been a couple of hot fixes as well. Gun base damage reduced by 5%. So yeah, they definitely overtuned this. Medic pack missing health percent reduced from 10% to 8%. Yeah, stamina regen returned to 5.25. Returned from 5.25 to 5 seconds. Neutrals bounty increased by another 5%. Warden bullet damage growth per boon reduced from 0.53 to 0.47. I guess they realized they overtuned Warden a little bit. And then Drifter base health reduced from 750 to 675. Okay, I guess they needed to balance out the buffs they gave him. Fixed a bug with fall off. I made a comment about this yesterday on Twitter. Fixed a bug with fall off damage calculation that was often causing guns to do much more damage than intended. We'll be monitoring and do subsequent adjustments after this. I was wondering why I was hitting a little bit harder at a distance with Abrams. Especially after building weighted shot. It definitely felt like his gun was hitting way too hard from a distance. And then the most recent one, hero kill bounty split efficiency was changed. Guardian's HP was increased again to 5,500. Guardian's armor decay peak at 12 minutes instead of 10. Yeah, so now the laning phase is lasting a little bit longer, or at least it's supposed to be. Fixed base Guardian's HP not matching lane Guardians were 1,000 less. Hero base health increased by 50. Trophy collectors souls per minute reduced from 30 to 22. Trophy collector health per stack reduced from 25 to 20. And then focus lens cooldown increased from 25 to 32 seconds. Spirit Sap now matches this too. Them nerfing Trophy collector is insane. Granted, for certain heroes, it was the best item that you could possibly build on them. I still build this shit on Page. I still build this on Page. I still build it on Mo. And if I'm ahead, I still build the shit on Abrams. Trophy collector is just too damn good. That about covers it. Good. Small balance patch my ass, Yoshi.